We know how many people may have, put the policy in their shopping cart on the website, but we don't know how many people actually went to the checkout counter and paid for the insurance.
Has the White House and the bad rollout put some Democrats in difficult positions? Absolutely. I mean, that I think goes without saying. But you got to find a way to go out there and emphasize the positives in terms of what the health care law does.
What are they? We'll talk about it with our panel. Syndicated columnist George Will, Mara Liasson, national political correspondent of National Public Radio, and syndicated columnist Charles Krauthammer. Welcome to you all. Good to see that you are safe and sound. Snowplows have done their job. George, I want to start with you. We touched on this last night, but this question about the administration's touting 3.3 million have signed up. But industry executives inside insurance industry say there's still a lot of questions about who's paid. Do they actually follow through? Or are these just things they've put in their online cart but haven't really checked out for yet?
I think there are really four questions. That's one of them. As Senator Brasso said, how many people have paid? Doesn't count until you've paid. But second, only 27% are in the 18 to 34 group, which means adverse selection by age is still underway. And they wanted about 40 to make this fly. Second, 55% are women. Women have higher recourse to the healthcare system. So that's another form of adverse selection in addition to the youth adverse selection. And fourth, most of these people who have signed up, a clear large majority, are in the 36 states that have not established state exchanges. So they're buying this through the federal exchanges, and there are count them, four lawsuits in various federal courts saying clearly that the plain text of the law says subsidies shall be available only through exchanges established by a state. Therefore, there are four problematic variables here.
And that last one, as you mentioned, those lawsuits still proceeding in a very big question, which may end up again at the Supreme Court. They get another bite at this. We have a lot of new polls out today, so I want to break down some of these. Mara, one of the first Fox News polls we have just released at 6 o'clock. If we knew in 2009 what we know today, would Congress have passed Obamacare? 64% say no, 28% say yes. With that in mind, what do Democrats do with this fall? Because we see them running ads, some of them as if I'm fighting against Obamacare. I mean, they seem to be changing
some of
their
the
position.
endangered Senate Democrats, particularly in red states, and Jeanne Shaheen in New Hampshire and Mary Landrieu in Louisiana, were right out of the gate very quick to offer legislation fixing some of these problems and trying to address them. That's important for them. Look, I don't think that the net popularity or unpopularity of Obamacare has changed. When you ask that same question a little bit differently, do you approve or disapprove of the law, you still get over 50% disapprove. It is a ball and chain for Democrats. However, I think that right now the White House feels the disasters are behind them. Those are in the rearview mirror. And as long as there are not any horrible stories like the website isn't working or a death spiral begins on the part of insurance companies, and we just won't know that yet.
Or when the employer mandate kicks in.
The employer
if it ever does
kicks
fully
in.
kick in.
Yeah. The employer mandate will kick in for large employers. What's been delayed is the mid-size employers. But if there are no other big horror stories like you had with the rollout, they think that they can manage this. It's still a net negative politically.
Well, and another one of the polls, Charles, this is interesting because it shows a big shift. Your family under the new health care law, back in October, they asked better, worse off, or the same. Back in October, when this was just starting to trickle out, 21% said they'd be better off, 35% worse, 39% said same. Major change now, because now we have just 9% people saying they think they're going to be better off, 25% worse off, 65% saying the same. I mean, all that's happened between that polling in October and the polling now is the law's actually kicked in, most of it.
Right, and people are beginning to feel the effect on them. This isn't a normal issue whether you approve or disapprove, and thus you might support the party on your side of the issue. This is something that hits everybody right where they live. Healthcare, unlike any other issue, is one that is a very intimate subject in your life and one that affects everyone equally. It's not like issues which affect a region, affect a class, affect some ethnicity. This is everybody. And if you get 25% of the population saying they are worse off, what you're doing is you're throwing a dart at a map of the United States, and everywhere you get a quarter of the population who have been personally hurt. When you're personally hurt, it affects your vote a lot more than that you have a disagreement over policy with a party or two. And that, I think, is why the Democrats are so scared. This is no abstract issue anymore. People are losing their insurance. They're losing their doctors. They're losing their hospitals. Some of them are losing jobs or losing hours as a result of the law. And it isn't as if people are waiting for another disaster on the website. This is as it progresses, more and more people are going to be affected, particularly as the mandate, employer mandate, kicks in over time and people lose jobs and lose hours and lose their coverage. And that's where the Democrats are going to get hurt irreparably.
But you know what, just one other point. Those things are happening. Not all of them are because of Obamacare, but right now, Obamacare owns the entire United States health system, and there are a lot of changes going on in it, and some of them are negative, and that's what the president and his party can't do anything about. Anything that goes wrong in health care is going to be blamed on Obamacare.
When you decide to revolutionize a sixth of the U.S. economy and to issue tens of thousands of regulation on as delicate an ecosystem as American medicine, you deserve the blame for everything that goes wrong.
We have a poll, as a matter of fact, on blame. How's that? Do you blame the Obama administration for problems with the implementation with the health care law?
Perfect segue.
It was the perfect segue. You set us up. 76% of people, if you add up those top two categories, say that the administration bears some or a lot of the blame, and the highest percentage went to a lot at 46%. George, what does the administration do with that, and are we going to see more Democrats avoiding contact with the president as they're fighting for their lives and their seats?
Oh, they're avoiding him as though he had infectious disease. When he comes to their states, they don't want to campaign with him. There's not much you can do because of what Charles said. They now own the healthcare system, and as Martin says, there are lots of people having problems with healthcare that are not related to Obamacare. Doesn't matter. It's going to be their problem. The question I wish they'd asked was just of the cohort of Obama voters in 2008. If you'd known what you know now, would you have voted for him? There'd be an asterisk over his election, just as there is an asterisk over his 2012 election because of the harassment of conservative groups opposing him then.
Well, and so many people will say in the 2012 election they relied on the promises from the White House and from the president that if you wanted your doctor and your plan, you could keep it. Obviously, last year rated the biggest political lie of the year for 2013. I want to make sure we hit this other poll on our way out on this topic. Another interesting question I thought is healthcare, is the law more about helping Americans or controlling their lives? 56% of those surveyed said it was about controlling their lives. That is something we didn't even hear 6 months ago, so folks have certainly soured on this, at least 56% of them.